State University. Game 1, Indiana State against Southern Illinois. And Tate's Lock is trying to lead the Sycamores on the road back. He'll need a big game from top scorer Eddie Bird. Coach of the Year Rich Herron guides the Southern Illinois Salukis, and all-conference performer Jerry Jones leads the Valley in rebounding. Coming up, the Pepsi Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. Creative Sports Marketing presents Pepsi Missouri Valley Conference College Basketball. Today's game, the Indiana State Sycamores against the Southern Illinois Salukis. This game is being brought to you in part by Pepsi and your local Pepsi bottler, a proud sponsor of the Missouri Valley Conference. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now. By State Farm Insurance and all the agents in the Missouri Valley region. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Trans World Airlines, the official airline of the Missouri Valley Conference. Welcome to Redbird Arena, the crown jewel of the Missouri Valley Conference. Hi everybody, I'm Bob Lewandowski, and I will be your host for this weekend's activities here at Illinois State. You know, if the conference tournament is at all like the regular season race, we should have entertaining and exciting basketball. There's going to be a couple of upsets. Hey, that's why they call it March Madness. For the description of today's first game, let's go down to J.P. Delacamera and John Albright. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Bob. We have the #1 seeded Salukis going up against #8 seed, the Indiana State Sycamores. And clearly, John, all of the numbers point in Southern's favor, but there's no pressure on Indiana State. It's all on Southern's shoulders.
Well, Southern Illinois, they're expected not only to get to the finals, but to be one of the favorites to win that. They want to try to repeat what they did during the regular season. So it'll be interesting to see how they react to that pressure. And you're exactly right, because Indiana State coming in as the 8th seed, no pressure on them whatsoever. And sometimes that combination of nothing to lose and everything to gain, that's exactly the ingredients for an upset. It'll be interesting to see how both teams react today.
As we take a look at our 4 keys to winning, let's see what the Sycamores must do to get the upset.
Well, first of all, Indiana State, they need to shoot well, 45% or better, to take some of the defensive pressure off, and they also want the game in the 60s. Both the games earlier this year were in the 60s, one of which they lost by 2 points at home. So if the game is in the 60s, they have a much better opportunity to come away with an upset.
And for Rich Herron's heavily favored Salukis, what must they do to continue on in this tournament?
Well, Southern Illinois just wants to continue with exactly the same formula that got them in the regular season championship. For Southern Illinois to win, they want to control the rebounding situation. They led the conference in rebounding as well as rebounding margin. They also won an up-tempo game. They averaged over 80 points a game during the regular season. They don't want this game to be a slowdown or a half-court affair with Indiana State. So look for a battle of tempos to be also a key in this game.
In the battle of tempo, look at the guards for the Salukis. You've got McSwain and Mahan. That might be the best backcourt in the MVC. What can Indiana State do to slow them down?
Well, first of all, on an athlete-to-athlete basis, Indiana State's going to lose that battle. So collectively, look for them to try to shorten the game, not try to play full 40 minutes, much more patient and slow it down, not get in a man-to-man battle.
We're going to meet the players for both Southern Illinois and Indiana State when we return to the Redbird Arena. Welcome back, everyone, to Redbird Arena. You've got the Indiana State Sycamores, the #8 seed, going up against the best regular season-wise, the Southern Illinois Salukis. They come in as the #1 seed. Right now, let's turn things over to Steve Adams, our public address announcer, and meet both teams.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Redbird Arena in Normal, Illinois for the quarterfinal round of the Pepsi Missouri Valley Conference Basketball Tournament. This afternoon's first game features the Sycamores of Indiana State University and the Salukis of Southern Illinois University. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing this afternoon's starting lineups. At forward for Indiana State, 6'4" from French Lick, Indiana, a junior, 42, Eddie Bird. At forward for Southern Illinois, 6'8" from Centralia, Illinois, a junior, number 40, Rick Shipley. At forward for Indiana State, 6'2" from St. Louis, Missouri, a junior, number 23, Dwayne Brown. At forward for Southern, 6'7" from Oak Park, Illinois, a freshman, number 50, Ashraf Amaya. At center for the Sycamores, 6'8" from Decatur, Indiana, a sophomore, number 43, Luke Gross. At center for the Salukis, 6'6" from Country Hills, Illinois, a senior, 44, Jerry Jones. At one guard for Indiana State, 6'2" from Avon, Indiana, a sophomore, number 25, Travis Inman. And at guard for Southern Illinois, 6'1" from Maywood, Illinois, a junior, number 11, Sterling Mahan. At the other guard for the Sycamores, 5'11" from Indianapolis, Indiana, a freshman, 32, Greg Thomas. And at the other guard for the Salukis, 6'5" from Birmingham, Alabama, a senior, 23, Freddie McSwain. The Indiana State coach in his first season, Tates Locke. The Southern Illinois coach in his 5th season, Rich Herron.
So we should be all set for first round action between Southern Illinois and Indiana State. We'll come back for the tip-off right after this word from Pepsi. We are back at the Redbird Arena here in Normal, Illinois. Rich Herron coaches Southern Illinois and Tate Slock coaches Indiana State. They're the officials for today. Paul Castor, Ron Zetcher in the middle, Bill Westbrooks to the outside. They will handle today's opening round game of the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. We've never had a repeat champion since this tournament began in 1977. Off the tip, Southern controls. Amaya to Mahan. Mahan is their quarterback.
Indiana State's going to open up in man-to-man. They'll try to dictate tempo-wise defensively.
The kick out from Jones to McSwain. A good penetrator. He missed the jumper. Rebounded by Shipley, who's strong on those boards. Another rebound. Amaya with a nice save, but a giveaway to Greg Thomas.
Early indication, though, Southern Illinois with 3 opportunities. They turn it over before they got another attempt up. Again, Indiana State doesn't want to give away that many rebounds.
Eddie Bird to Dwayne Brown. Both Brown and Bird bothered by hand injuries to the shooting hand, but they're playing today. Shipley, good athletic move. Missed it. Rebound. Jerry Jones is automatic.
John Paul in 2 possessions. That's 5 opportunities already that the Salukis have had. And you see again the great athletic ability that the Salukis have.
Travis Inman, second leading scorer for Indiana State. Bird from Gross, and now Brown. Mahan will pick him up. Here's Inman behind the screen, hits it. And they're going to need more of that from Travis Inman if they have any kind of a shot at beating Southern Illinois today.
He's a streak shooter, and yesterday Tate Slock told us, or actually we heard at practice, that Inman may be the only 100% healthy player that Indiana State puts out on the court, so they need a big game from him.
There's Amaya, and that's broken up. McSwain will take it back.
Again, multiple opportunities for Southern Illinois. What that does is it doesn't put as much emphasis on your field goal percentage as opposed to your possession percentage and how well you convert those possessions.
Gross did his best to save it, but couldn't make the play. It's even at 2 with 18:22 to go here in the opening half from the Redbird Arena. This tournament hosted and well hosted by Illinois State. Shipley with a kick out. Mahan had the shot if he caught it in the first try, but Inman picked him up.
Good look at Indiana State with his zone. On the out-of-bounds play, they turn it over.
Inman got the steal. Greg Thomas got a bad pass, so that might have been an easy 2.
Good job, though, for the Sycamores. It wasn't there. They reset the offense.
Bird, who led the Valley in threes, gets it.
Now, one thing for Indiana State, if you can stay close early on, the longer you linger around, Southern Illinois has to start wondering whether they can shake you or not.
And it looks like Inman was detected for a foul underneath. Travis Inman on the push. It'll be the first foul on Indiana State. So Southern will inbound the ball. And now we've got a substitution. Matt Wynn, who's a good 3-point shooter, will come in for Freddie McSwain. McSwain can be streaky when he's hot. He can carry it when he's cold.
He's going to go right back in the game, too.
Well, that's an interesting switch. We'll talk about that. Here's Thomas coming back. He never went down to the bench. He's ready to check back in. Inman doesn't go. Tough rebound, but Jerry Jones is there.
Well, John Paul, they may have had a confusion as to who Wynn was supposed to go in for.
Mahan short, but he got it right back. Made it look easy. Missed the second one. Inman is there. Is Southern playing a little tight today at the start?
They are a little tight because they're getting good shots, just not being able to hit them early on, but rebounding is keeping them in it.
Eddie Bird, not another three, but underneath, Luke Gross committed the foul. McSwain had come in, Wynn had checked out, and then McSwain went right back to the table. I never saw him go to the bench. If he got anywhere near the bench, they probably directed him back because he didn't spend much time out. But now he comes back in for Wynn, so I'm a little puzzled by that.
That may have just been an attempt to get Freddie McSwain just to rethink what he's doing out there, maybe a little better concentration.
Was that a Rich Heron wake-up call?
Exactly what that may have been.
Sterling Mahan will come back the other way. 5-2. The underdogs are leading it.
John Paul, when you're not shooting the ball well, like early on the Salukis are, look when they're trying to get it inside for a higher percentage shot.
Sycamore's bench stopped to McSwain, a double dribble. They'll get the ball anyway in the turnover, then Inman lost it. Now, I wanted to say a special happy birthday at this point. Phil Hopkins, who's the assistant coach for this man, Tate's Lock. It's his daughter Summer's 10th birthday today, and Phil told me that the many times that his teams have played in high school and college on his daughter's birthday, his teams have never lost. That's an interesting thought.
Well, it's also difficult to beat a conference team 3 times in the same year. Southern Illinois has enjoyed the last 8 straight wins between these two clubs. Indiana State has not won against Southern Illinois since 1986.
No one is hitting for Southern Illinois. That time Jones just didn't get a good enough pass from McSwain. He was open, but the pass put him in an awkward situation.
Well, both teams a little tight. You want to burn off that adrenaline, that emotion, and once that's burned off, you'll see both teams settle down to play their regular games.
It's going to stay this way for Indiana State. What an interesting contrast today, though. Southern led the league in terms of scoring, and the best defensive record was on the part of Indiana State, as we've got a substitution coming in. This man does a great job coming off the bench, so Kelvin Lawrence, it's no surprise he's coming in early.
Southern Illinois has stayed in that man-to-man. Both teams have pretty much gone with man. Indiana State 1 trip down on the zone, out of bounds.
Lawrence, by the way, is in for Amaya. This is a quick lineup with this group in there with Mahan, McSwain, and Lawrence. In effect, you could call it a 3-guard group.
Look at the shot clock. It's already down to 10 seconds. Indiana State very patient at the offensive end.
Inman knows the time is running out, and he buries the 3.
Well, the entire Indiana State bench up after that, they really like the execution. Very patient Sycamore attack that time, and it paid the dividend.
Inman's a 41% 3-point shooter. It's 8-2. And it's the underdog team leading it. Jerry Jones answers back.
Yeah, nice move by the Salukis. When you're not shooting well, they go inside to the old reliable strength, which is a much higher percentage shot anyway. And look for them again to loosen it up now that they've got their confidence going.
Indiana State with an 8-4 lead early. And a traveling violation. That's a tough turnover for Indiana State. Timeout on the floor. 15 minutes and 14 seconds still to play here in the first half. A slow start for the champions, the team from Southern Illinois. Welcome back, everyone, to the Pepsi Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. John Paul Della Camera with John Albright and Bob Lewandowski. It's a 8-4 lead, surprisingly early for Indiana State, but it's been cold shooting on the part of Southern's part. I'm sure they've won the battle of the boards, but they can't sink many baskets, and Rich Heron has to be concerned about that.
Well, he's concerned because his club only 2 of 10 from the field, but they have control rebounding, 8 rebounds, and Indiana State 3 out of 5, 2 for 2 from the 3-point range, so they're well above that 45% mark we talked about at the open.
Jerry Jones, a great block underneath from Luke Gross. Good defense by Gross, who led this team last year in block shots. Inbounded by Kelvin Lawrence. On a long lob, it's Mahan.
Indiana State's going to go 2-3 zone on the out-of-bounds play. This team really plays hard. That's been the motto all year long for Tate's Lock and his club, and they certainly do that.
Mahan put up a 3. Shipley, great left-handed layup. There are no points from that great backcourt that we talked about at the start of the show. Mahan and McSwain.
Salukis open up with full court man-to-man pressure, trying to pick the tempo of this game up because early on it's all Indiana State's tempo favor.
Sycamores lead at 8-6, 14.5 to go. First half of play here at the Redbird Arena. This is Dwayne Brown to Inman. Low to Gross against Jerry Jones. A nice short jumper from Gross.
Again, nothing but good high percentage shots so far, Indiana State. And they lead it by 4 for that very reason.
Kelvin Lawrence picked up by Dwayne Brown. Outside to McSwain. McSwain led the team in scoring. Jerry Jones, that inside game continues to work, but that one went in and out. There's Shipley. He is so dependable and so steady for this team. Doesn't get as many headlines as the other players, but he gets the job done.
Early on, if you're Rich hearing a stat you like, that's the 9th offensive rebound for the Salukis already in the first half.
Thomas was out of control as he went up. Jones on the boards. Freddie McSwain on the outside. The 2 guards for Southern up to this point have been neutralized, but the inside game has been strong. And as Shipley went in, Eddie Bird committed the foul. Eddie Bird, the leading scorer on this team, bothered by a hand injury, only played 21 minutes and scored 5 points in their last game against Drake. He was injured a couple games back against Wichita State. That's a scary stat if you're Tate's Lock.
Well, we talked about that against Southern Illinois, all them at the offensive end of it. But what that does, again, that takes an emphasis off the percentage, field goal percent, because you're getting multiple opportunities per possession. So if you're 50% per possession, it doesn't matter what you shoot from the field.
Mahan on the bounce pass to Lawrence.
Get on the out-of-bounds play. Indiana State in a 2-3 zone.
Lawrence legs it up for 3.
Immediately full court pressure by the Salukis.
He's a 35% shooter from 3-point range, and Bird will now leave it for the freshman point guard, Greg Thomas.
Very important for Indiana State to answer the Saluki run. They want to keep it close. They don't have the offensive firepower to make up a large deficit.
And it's going the other way. This is the first lead, John, for Southern since they led 2-0 when Jerry Jones scored.
Good look at Tate's Lock, and what an outstanding job he has done for the Sycamores. Their attendance up 30.5% for a team that won 8 wins, and you know that the enthusiasm is once again back on the Indiana State campus.
McSwain out of control of the jumper, and we've got a foul. Shipley and Brown went up, and it's going to be on Shipley. So Rick Shipley, who averages 12 points a game for Southern Illinois, commits the foul.
Getting a good look at full court pressure, man-to-man. Pretty much token. It's not the all-out denial. And what a great pick. You saw Gross set right there.
That one hurt me. Inman picked up by Shipley. Gross with it. They'll give Gross that shot if he stays out there. Here's Brown. Forced the jumper, and he banked it in off the glass.
Question, did he call that? Doesn't count unless he calls that bank. Nice individual move, though, that time by Dwayne Brown.
Oh, the picks are getting dangerous. Eddie Bird that time didn't do it as effectively, apparently, as Gross the other way. Second Bird foul.
Give a pick. See him come right into Jones right there, and you see the push-off.
That's his second, 4th foul on Indiana.
Eddie Bird with a couple of fouls. He cannot get into foul trouble. And we see Ron Cheatham, the only senior on this club, ready to check in. There are 2 freshmen, 4 sophomores, 4 juniors, and this man, the only senior on Indiana State. Bird will go out. Shipley now to Lawrence. Intercepted by Brown. Lawrence telegraphed that pass all the way. Greg Thomas coming back. It's a 12-11 lead, a 1-point lead for Indiana State. Travis Inman. Lawrence will pick him up. Almost stolen away by Mahan. This team played great defense against Wichita State to win their last game, which got them the Valley Championship in the regular season. Very intense man-to-man defense.
John Paul, already half of the 45-second shot clock had run down before Indiana State even looked at the basket. And Greg Thomas, nice execution. He answers.
Well, they've got to be patient, and Thomas got the 3 there for a 15-11 lead. It's a 4-point edge. It could be down to 1. Lawrence's shot went in and out. Thomas on the rebound. You had said if it's a lot of points, don't expect Indiana State to win it. They're in the 60s. Southern will score in the 80s, so this works in their favor for Indiana State. If it's low scoring, Inman. He has 7 points. He's leading both teams in scoring.
Just good fundamental basketball that time by the Sycamores. Nobody blocked Inman out. He went right up with it for a strong second opportunity.
Mike Bowles is getting ready to check in on the lineup for Indiana State and give someone else a breather. Mahan with it. Mahan ran into his own man, Jones. The fadeaway.
That's That's a big basket because that time Mahan forced that shot, and he found a way for it to drop. He is such a fierce competitor, as you talked about. Tate Schlock felt he was the most valuable player in the league simply because his ability to deny losing. He finds a way to win somehow. He likes that competitive spirit.
He had to come off the bench last year because the great Kai Nurenberger was in his senior year, that fine three-point shooter.
Well, Mahan was rewarded with a first-team All-Missouri Conference pick for his play during the regular season.
Tate Schlock said if he could pick one player in the entire Valley to start his team, that would be it. And when you consider all the great players in this league, like the Harstads, the Gallaghers, just to name a couple, Ricky Jackson of Illinois State, Stuckey. I mean, there's so many great players that that's quite a tribute to Mahan. And here he comes. 17-13, a 4-point lead. The pull-up from three. Oh, they're going to give him two. His foot must have touched the line.
We just talked about it. And great players, when the going gets tough, they want the basketball. The last two trips down court, Sterling Mahan has taken over offensively.
Close to a three, but his foot apparently hit the line. Both officials right there.
Hey, what we've got, we're going to have a basketball game because halfway through the first half, there's only a 2-point difference. Indiana State, they feel they're in it now. It's going to be a battle. It's going to take a big run for Southern Illinois to open it up because Indiana State feels they belong now.
Cheatham walk. 17-15. Here come the substitutions. Vickers will come in. So will Bowles. We'll settle it up for you when we come back.
For Indiana State, it's 35, Bowles.
Time to remind everyone that the announcers for this game have been contracted for and approved by the Missouri Valley Conference. Any use, rebroadcast, or other transmission of this game without the written consent of the Missouri Valley Conference and Creative Sports Marketing is prohibited. John Paul Della Camera along with John Albright in a 17-15 lead, surprisingly, for Indiana State.
Well, Indiana State has continued to shoot well. You see the numbers right there. That's on the season three-point. Indiana State led the league in percentage, and they're at 75% so far. Lighting it up. They're 7 out of 12 overall. Southern Illinois only 7 for 20 from the field.
From the outside, the three.
You know why Matt Wynn was inserted into the game, and immediately he does exactly what he's in the game for.
And he's given him the lead at 18-17. Here's Vickers, who just checked in for Thomas. Bowles is in for Gross. Travis Inman leading both teams in scoring underneath. The miss by Cheatham. He got a game, and he banked it.
Nothing fancy about Ron Cheatham that time. Just had the ability to stay with it. The ball bounced right to him. Had the presence of mind to put it up strong.
You must have liked those when you were playing, right?
I never got any of those garbage baskets.
Never?
Big guys, didn't like little guys in there.
Mahan got 3 more. So now that three-point shot has become a great weapon for Southern Illinois.
Both teams have used that three-point shot to their advantage. A lot of offense from that point.
2-point lead for Southern. Had quite a few lead changes already in this first half. Inman got that one. That's 2. Give Travis 9, and he now leads both teams once more.
Inman's a streak shooter. You don't want him to put 2 or 3 in a row together.
Look at how Mahan stuck with it, counted, and he was fouled. Perseverance.
We talked about Sterling Mahan, what he means to this team. Watch him. He finds the ball. You see the contact with Vickers. Mahan does a smart thing, goes up with it, and has a chance for the three-point play. He has taken over offensively. You see what he's done, averaging 16 points, first-team all-conference selection. And he really means a lot to this club in things that don't necessarily show up in the scorebook, because he is a team leader. And as we talked about what Tate Schlock felt about him, he's a winner.
Second in the league in assists, first in the league in steals. He can make this a three-point play. He has 9 points, tying Inman, and he goes up with 10. So he's in double figures.
Getting full court pressure now, man-to-man full court pressure by Southern Illinois.
The tough time here for Indiana State. Let's see how they handle this pressure, because they're down by 3. 8:02 to play, first half. You're watching the Pepsi Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. The miss from Inman. Jerry Jones got the rebound, and Bowles fouled him. Mike Bowles committing his first personal foul. 24-21, Illinois State, or Southern Illinois, leading. Southern leading over Indiana State with 7:55 to go. Here in the first half, we've got a timeout on the floor. Get your Pepsis now and then come on into the Redbird Arena where the Southern Illinois Salukis are leading at 24-21. But we've had a good game so far, John Albright, despite what the numbers told us coming in that it might be a runaway. Indiana State's hanging tough.
Well, you see what Jerry Jones has done already. 6 rebounds. Inman of Indiana State with 3. And Southern Illinois is controlling it, and they have a 14-6 rebound advantage.
Win to the outside of McSwain. Win the three-point shooting specialist. The kick out, here's McSwain. He is scoreless. That one goes nowhere. Shipley underneath. That's 3 strong Rick Shipley layups for Southern.
Well, that time Indiana State in the zone, and again Southern Illinois hitting the offensive glass hard. It takes the pressure off the field goal percentage. It becomes a possession percentage is all that matters.
Dwayne Brown's pass, now Vickers to the outside for Inman. A little tighter defense now on Travis Inman.
Well, McSwain, the best all-around athlete on the Southern Illinois team. He's guarding Inman.
Travis Inman connects. They'll give him a couple.
You don't give him any opportunity to get the shot. And Rich Herron very upset on the sidelines because McSwain really not that bad a defense. Lost his man just for a minute, and Inman made him pay for it.
They had him covered at the top of the key. When he went to the corner, he was open.
It's a guy, a player like that, you've got to deny him the basketball. You can't stray away from him as much as you can other players.
Oh, Mahan slipping right underneath. Just missed. There's Shipley again. What a weapon that is. Shipley has not missed on those rebounds.
John Paul, Southern Illinois is continuing to get more than one opportunity each trip down court over the course of a 40-minute game. That scenario is tough to overcome.
That's one of the reasons I'm sure why Luke Gross is getting ready to check back in, get some more size and rebounding in for Indiana State. Inman in and out. Jones quickly. Southern Illinois in transition. McSwain had it knocked away, and Tate's Lock makes a nice grab over on the Sycamores bench. Here's the substitutions coming in. Thomas and Gross will come back in.
Look at that number. That's offensive rebounds only. Again, that's multiple possessions for Southern Illinois each trip down court. That stat is amazing.
Kelvin Lawrence and Tyrone Bell come in. Wynn and Mahan check out. Let's see how this team operates without Mahan. Jones, jam time.
That time Southern Illinois did a nice job of getting it inside the 2-3 Indiana State zone. And the Salukis have opened up a 7-point lead.
Biggest lead of the day. 5:47 to go. First half of play.
Very important for Indiana State to answer the Saluki run. They need a good shot, and most importantly, they need to convert this trip down court.
Cheatham gave it away. Shipley with quick hands on that steal. Kelvin Lawrence coming back. McSwain still without a point. Jerry Jones trying to put it in. He walked. A little too anxious on the baseline. It's still a 7-point lead, but Indiana State will have the ball as Rich Herron looks on. Here's a man that won 616 high school games.
Was honored this year as the Coach of the Year in the Missouri Valley. Well deserved.
It's a very popular choice, too. All the coaches really genuinely seem to like and appreciate Rich Herron and his dedication to the game. Inman low to Gross.
Very active Southern Illinois defense. They're in man-to-man. Very, very active.
Gross had it knocked away as he put it on the floor. Brown has the open shot. He hit it for 3.
Big basket by Dwayne Brown in Indiana State. They've been able to answer every run so far in the game.
Shipley's going for 3. That's way off the mark. Shipley, though, can hit that shot. He gets 38% of those during the course of the season.
Well, that's a big shot because prior to Indiana State's 3-point shot, they were down by 7. With that shot, they now have an opportunity to close it to 2 or 1 with a 3-point basket and right back in the game.
Shipley's angry at himself for taking that. Here's Brown. Against him is Bell. Thomas trying to shake loose from McSwain's coverage.
Again, more than half of the 45-second shot clock is burned off, and Indiana State yet to even look at trying to put a shot up. Very patient, and they run their execution very nicely.
They better start looking. It's down to 8. Here's Brown. It doesn't go. Jones, I think, altered his shot. Here's McSwain. 2-on-1 to Bell. Missed it. And we've got a foul on Bell.
Going to call a charge that time on Tyrone Bell. Let's take a look at it. Greg Thomas getting back. Is he set? Nice job by Thomas. Yes, he's set. Bell runs right over him. Good heads-up play that time by Greg Thomas. And he's a freshman.
He had time to set up. That's a tough call to take. And on that 2-on-1, as you pointed out, the freshman, that's a nice move.
Well, that's really the only thing you can do, because Thomas is only 5'11". He's not going to be able to get up and block many shots, so he got back defensively. Nice job of picking up the charge.
Burridge comes in for Cheatham, and I'm being screened by the officials. Southern Illinois is going to get the ball. Burridge comes in to add a little height to this lineup as Cheatham goes out. It's a 30-26 lead for Southern, and we'll come right back right after this word from Pepsi.
Got to get a good look at why Sterling Mahan is so valuable to his club. Watch this nice baseline move. Going to shift right through the entire defense. And rebounding has been a big plus all night long for Southern Illinois. And you see Shipley with a nice follow-up.
Shipley has 8 points, Mahan 10 for Southern Illinois. Inman leads all scores with 11. Mahan will bring it out against Thomas's pressure.
Good look at that's a 2-3 zone. Little matchup principles, which means the top guys will play man-to-man. Once the ball moves around, they'll drop back into a zone.
Mahan from three-point range, he missed, and off a tip it goes the other way. This is the first time that Mahan, McSwain, and Wynn have all been in the lineup together.
Looking for some perimeter scoring to extend that Indiana State defense. Loosen up the inside.
That's a great pass to Brown, but he's overrun and almost a turnover the other way for Mahan. But there's the quick hands. That's why he led the league in steals. Inman will inbound it to Gross. Indiana State with a chance to narrow that 4-point deficit down. 3:35 to go here in the first half. Indiana State has given Southern Illinois a very good go here in the first half of play. Right from the opening tip. Burridge, and gives Shipley credit for the tip. And reaching out was Inman to foul McSwain. And that should be the bonus situation, because that'll be the 7th foul on Indiana State. Not a good foul for Inman there. Lawrence will come in for Rich Herron's team, replacing Wynn.
Rich Herron, very positive. His players very high on their head coach. He's done an outstanding job in bringing back renewed interest in basketball in Southern Illinois.
Last 2 games were complete sellouts, 10,014. Here's McSwain at the line. He's their best free throw shooter. Shows you a little bit why there, and that's his first point of the game. All-conference second team for Freddie McSwain. He is averaging better than 17 a game. Last year, he was one of the bright newcomers to the Valley as a junior college transfer. He gets his second free throw. Only a couple of points for McSwain thus far. Burridge to Thomas.
Full court trap now. Southern Illinois forces a turnover.
Lawrence the jumper. That's big.
H-Lock's going to get a timeout.
I don't blame him. He has to settle them down. Say, Indiana State's right with him right before the half, and all of a sudden it's an 8-point lead. You know, those traps, it's not the interception. The first guy's getting a tip, and then it's the second guy that's coming in.
Well, John Paul, first of all, you've got to recognize what defense is coming at you. Now, Southern Illinois has been man-to-man the entire game. Now, watch them. Now they surprise them with a trap. And you see they're not prepared for what the cross-court pass. That's been open all game long, a little behind him. But again, for Indiana State, you've got to recognize what the defensive is that you're going against. It's the first time all game long they've seen full court pressure. And it couldn't come at a worse time, because you're exactly right. They've been right in the game. They're now down 8 points, and the momentum has clearly shifted to favor Southern Illinois.
Well, Tate's-Lock, a lot of experience behind the bench in college, and even some pro experience, will tell the troops what to do and hope that they can execute it that way. As we look at the turnovers, Indiana State with 9, and Southern, surprisingly, that's pretty high for them at this point. And on the points off the turnovers, Indiana State has converted them. Southern has not.
Well, conversion is the important end of it. Indiana State has done a good job on the turnovers they've had. Southern Illinois has been unable to capitalize on their turnovers, but again, the rebounding situation has been all Southern Illinois. Indiana State has shot better than 45%. We talked about that, and that's what's keeping them in this game.
Let's keep in mind, too, that Eddie Bird has not returned since maybe the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game when he went out. He's been bothered by a hand injury. Did start, but has been on the bench for the last several minutes, most of his half. Here's Thomas coming through. Gross went in for the jam and missed. Coming right back is Shipley.
That's a tough break for Indiana State, because they did exactly what they wanted to do against the pressure. They beat it and had a high percentage shot, just couldn't convert.
McSwain to Mahan. Shipley. The kick out. McSwain from 3. So instead of getting maybe a big jam on one end and a couple of points, they give up the 3 coming back.
Well, 1-2, 1-1, full court pressure. Thomas does a nice job of breaking it again.
Mahan on the foul. It's an 11-point lead, though, all of a sudden for Southern Illinois, but you could see it coming. You could see them coming back. Their outside game was starting to work.
Now, this is not a smart move by Mahan. Watch the reach around. That's an automatic call. Mahan reaching around, picks up a foul.
That's only the 3rd team foul, though, for Southern Illinois. Gross is way outside. Now to Cheatham. Greg Thomas comes out after it. Indiana State continuing to work on the clock. They'll run their half-court offense.
Again, very patient. They look for a high percentage shot.
That one wasn't so high percentage as Brown missed from 3, but he has the capability of hitting that. Dwayne Brown, 47% when he puts that up.
The next 2 minutes extremely critical for Indiana State. They're down by 11 right now. They need to get it back to 5 or 6, and for Southern Illinois, a chance to open this game wide up going into the half.
You can probably tell a lot of Southern Illinois fans are in attendance here. A foul underneath. It looks like Gross.
Gross is going to get it. He and Jones were tied up on the floor, and Gross will pick up the foul.
And for Luke Gross, that's going to be his 2nd personal foul. Gross at 6'8", he is just a sophomore.
Well, for both coaches, JP, you like it when your big guys don't have a problem with mixing it up on the floor. Just great all-out hustle by both these clubs so far.
Jerry Jones is at the line, and this is really his Achilles heel. All 3 big players, he, Shipley, and Amaya, have not been able to hit free throws. And speaking of Amaya, we have not seen him in quite some time as well.
Well, coaches like to stick with the combination and the chemistry that opens up games, and he was not in there when Southern Illinois was able to open it up.
To the outside. Travis Inman again, but this one is no good. Sterling Mahan on the run. On the lob, he was bumped by Cheatham. And it's still the 1-1. But you could see that great speed of Mahan. Cheatham was no match in the foot race.
Cheatham did everything he could to try to slow Sterling Mahan down, and a little too much body contact that time by Cheatham, and he picked up the foul.
A 71% free throw shooter, and speaking of Amaya, as we were before, he's coming back in.
You see the bump. Actually, the bump occurred just prior to when we picked it up, but there was body contact, and you saw the Salukis with a good break opportunity, so it may prove to be a smart foul.
Shipley goes out with 8 points, and of his 8 points, they came on 4 offensive rebounds by Shipley. Mahan missed.
It turns out the foul made sense.
Coming back the other way, it's Greg Thomas. 1:17 on the clock. First half, 37-26.
This is really where you like to see Inman get loose, maybe for an uncontested 3.
Oh, Mahan was holding. So Sterling Mahan commits his 2nd foul. A look of disbelief on the part of Mahan.
Look for Mahan to sit down with 1:09 to go. Rich Herron doesn't want to see him pick up that 3rd foul, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Tyrone Bell is going to come into the game. Smart move. Don't let him have an opportunity to pick up that 3rd foul.
Outside, it's Dwayne Brown. Now to Thomas. 1:07 on the clock here in the first half. It's a 37-26 lead in favor of Southern Illinois, the #1 seed in this tournament. But Indiana State surprised them in the early going and led by as many as 6 points at one time. Here's Inman to Brown. 22 on the shot clock. Brown, the kick out. Travis Inman put it up and hit it for a couple.
Excellent execution again by Indiana State. That was a big basket. It gets it under the double figures range. If they could go in, maybe come up with a steal or something to try to cut that 9-point lead, they would again turn that momentum around and have a chance in the second half.
Shot clock has been turned off here. We've got 24 seconds left on the game clock in the first half. Southern will play, obviously, here for the last shot. Bell, no pressure on anyone right now. Indiana State's just going to lay back.
A little smart move by Rich Herron in Southern Illinois. The worst you could go in is 9 points up, possibly more than that. It's a pretty good situation for the Salukis to be in at the half.
The pass almost picked up by Brown. McSwain in and out. Jones, and that's it. So Indiana State hangs in there, 37-28. They got the lead down to 9 points, so the #1 seed still has the edge here at the half. Right now, let's go to our desk and Bob Lewandowski.
All right, we've got a lot of basketball yet to go in the second bottle. A proud sponsor of the Missouri Valley Conference. By State Farm Insurance and all the agents in the Missouri Valley region. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By TWA, 150 cities in 18 countries on 4 continents have one thing in common, TWA. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now. All right, an entertaining first half for you. Lots more basketball coming up your way here from Redbird Arena. I'm Bob Lewandowski, part of our Pepsi halftime report. We'll see some highlights for you in a minute. We'll go back downstairs in just a moment and check in on those first half numbers. Big edge in rebounding for the Southern Illinois team. Let's take a look at some of the highlights sponsored by State Farm. Our halftime highlights brought to you by State Farm and your good neighbors. All right, we're going to get a look here. First of all, watch him kick the ball. Southern Illinois out to Sterling Mahan. He drills it from 3-point range. Southern had a little problem shooting from outside early on, but they started to warm things up. They shook off some early jitters. Now we're going to see Ron Cheatham off the glass here, getting the rebound and muscling it back up inside. Back for Southern Illinois, it'll be Sterling Mahan. A great shot here of second effort. Watch him lose control of the ball here, making the spin. He is triple teamed right there. Never lost his concentration, off balance. Boy, that is a tough shot. Beautiful effort for Sterling Mahan. Now Travis Inman on the other side of the court once more. And again, Indiana State must do this if they are to stay close to Southern Illinois. They simply do not have the athletic ability that the Salukis do. We'll be back with the halftime numbers for you. It's a 9-point lead for Southern Illinois. Back to Redbird Arena after this.
There is the Missouri Valley Coach of the Year, Rich Herron. He was 8-20 in his first year, and 5 years later, what he has done, he has combined in the last 2 years for 2 consecutive 20-win seasons. That's never been done in the history of Southern Illinois Salukis basketball, and they haven't been this excited about the Salukis since Walt Frazier was a player.
And more importantly, he's got to be extremely pleased with the way his team has opened up the second half. Look at that. You see the numbers. 57% for the Salukis, and Indiana State, for the first time all game long, has fallen below the 45% mark.
It's been an 8-2 run, John, here in the second half. Could have been 8-4, but Inman missed it. Jones a rebound. We may need a calculator for Jones's rebounds before this one's over. Shipley will take this three, but he missed. He's 0 for 2 from 3-point range. Thomas blows right by our table. On the gallop, blocked by Freddie McSwain. And Mahan went out. Ball is going to stay Indiana State's way. That's a tough knock for Mahan.
Mahan and Brown are going to both go after this. You see the great individual block right here by McSwain. He's 6'5", has no problem climbing. You see the collision right there. Both players going for the ball. Good no call that time. Rob Vickers is going to check back into the lineup for Indiana State.
Ball will be tossed in by Eddie Burt. Inman is the player who checked out for Indiana State. Had a hot first half with 13 points, but 0 for 2 or 0 for 3 here in the second half. Lawrence committing that foul. It'll be his first. Kelvin Lawrence, a very impressive looking sophomore, as Rich Herron looks at that clock, but he's got to like the scoreboard because they're up by 15 after a very slow start. They appear to be playing very tight, but as you had said at the top, all the pressure was on them. No one really expecting Indiana State to win it.
John Paul, it takes you as a player, it takes you a few minutes to burn off the emotion and the adrenaline that you come into a game like this with.
Lawrence committing that second straight foul. They've had a great year, though, Southern has, and they've won 24 games this year.
You see Luke Gross is going to get it inside. Kelvin Lawrence comes down to pick up the foul. One of the few times Indiana State has been able to get the basketball inside. They've done most of it from the perimeter.
Now, he shoots 63%, but as a team, they're #1 for the second straight year in the Missouri Valley Conference, so they can shoot those free throws. But you got to get to the line in order to get there, to have that opportunity. They haven't been doing that as well. And there was a whistle before it. Is there a lane violation? That's a tough turnover for Indiana State to have a lane violation called at that point.
That's tough because that's Indiana State's first free throw of the basketball game. They don't even get a chance to shoot the second one.
Shipley hit off the side of the backboard, but it's still in play. McSwain from Tyrone Bell, who had checked in for Mahan during that last free throw. Jerry Jones, the turnaround. No good. Rebound by probably the smallest player out there on the floor right now in Vickers. Eddie Bird, 45-30.
If Indiana State can get this lead down to 10 points with 10 minutes to go, they got a chance to make a great game of it. So the next 5 minutes plus will be very important for the Sycamores. You see the possession arrow favoring the Salukis.
Shipley will be putting it in play.
We talked about the rebounding. Jerry Jones already has 13 rebounds. Now he comes into the game averaging a little over 10, already with 13 boards.
Last year in a tournament game, Shipley broke a Larry Bird record by pulling down 20. That one might be in jeopardy. Freddie McSwain sent out the bell. I think it was knocked out the bell, and he made it go.
That time Bell made it look easy, penetrated the defense. Nobody stopped his penetration. He got an easy 2 points.
47-30, the biggest lead here for Southern. Greg Thomas. Now to Brown outside. It's Vickers. McSwain will pick him up. The pass to Bird is off the mark. Indiana State losing some of that intensity there as Tate's-Lock looks on. This is his first year here. The intensity picking up though on that side. On the inbound, it's taken over now by Southern Illinois. McSwain outside to Lawrence for Shipley, and it's going the other way on that turnover for Southern Illinois. And even with a 17-point lead, Rich Heron doesn't like to see those passes go astray.
Well, that's his team's first turnover of the second half. You see Indiana State there with 4 turnovers already in the second half.
This is the opening round and the opening game of the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. The winner of this game will face the winner of the game coming up next between Bradley and Tulsa. And that game will be played tomorrow, as that foul is called.
And you see Freddie McSwain shaking his head. Yes, I did it. Didn't like the call, but he had to agree with the call. That time caught reaching in.
It's only his first foul as an individual. Third team foul, though, on Southern. No fouls the other way for Indiana State.
Now you get an idea at the versatility of McSwain. He's 6'5". Vickers is 5'10", yet McSwain's guarding him man-to-man. Folks, that's not that easy to do.
Round down low, Gross in the turnaround. He was off target. Here comes Lawrence in transition. The late give to Bell. A good block from Gross. Thomas dribbles out of the pack, and as he tried to pass it, it was slapped away, and they may get it back. Gross in the backcourt.
Well, McSwain fell down that time. The outlet pass would have been perfect if he had just kept his feet, but he couldn't do it.
And as Bird went for the drive, Shipley got him before. That'll be Shipley's second and the 4th team foul on Southern Illinois.
Gonna get a good look at Eddie Bird coming right at you. You see the contact. Shipley at 6'8", not quite quick enough to stay with Eddie Bird, who's 6'4".
Bowles will come in replacing Vickers, so that's a big height advantage for Indiana State. Mahan and Wynn check in. Lawrence and McSwain check out for Southern Illinois. Eddie Bird will inbound, and he has led this team in scoring since his freshman year. This is the end of his 3rd year here. Greg Thomas, his Inman, has checked back in as well. And Gross has checked out. Thomas to Dwayne Brown. Now it's Inman. Bird on a nice cut. The jumper was in and out. Good form. It looked great, but it doesn't go.
Nice execution. Got the open shot, but Bird couldn't get it to drop.
Indiana State has been stuck on that 30 count for some time. 47-30. Underneath Shipley. 10 points. The cream is starting to rise to the top now with Southern Illinois with a 19-point edge.
Southern Illinois came into this tournament playing as hot as anybody in the Missouri Valley. They won 6 out of their 7 final regular season games to earn the regular season championship. And it looks like that hot streak has continued right here in the first round.
Travis Inman will kick it outside now to Thomas. Thomas averaged better than 20 points a game in high school, but he's had to be the point guard here. Bird from 3, and that is short. Bowles the rebound. Wanted to go back up with it. You could hear his teammates say, take it up, and he lost it there. That's a tough run if you're Indiana State.
Again, Southern Illinois, they put together a couple of strong runs in the second half. Indiana State needs to get some points. Again, we talked about the 10-minute mark. Take a look at the margin. Right now with 12 plus to go, it's a 19-point margin. Indiana State needs to get that down to 10 at the 10-minute mark if they want to have a realistic chance of getting back in this game.
Matt Wynn likes the three. That didn't like him. Underneath the rebound again, Amaya. And we've got a foul underneath.
Inman's going to pick up the foul on the baseline.
That'll be his third, John, so he's in some foul trouble. 13 first-half points, none of the second.
And rebounding has been the story all game long. You see Ashraf Amaya, he's going to come up with another offensive rebound. Inman's going to be reaching in. You see the reach in right there. Southern Illinois will have another opportunity at the free throw line.
Amaya, no points today, but not really many minutes. His first free throw is no good. Amaya at the line this year has been under 58%, but he was named the outstanding freshman of the Valley this year, and that's quite an achievement because there are several outstanding ones. You're going to see some of them during this tournament.
And most people at Southern Illinois really credit him with his insertion into the starting lineup is really when they started playing their best basketball.
He was a big bonus for them. It's a 50-30 game, a 20-point lead for Rich Herron and the Salukis. Following this game, our continued coverage of the Pepsi Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. This should be a good one with Bradley and Tulsa. They've had quite a rivalry. Injuries are a story on both of those teams. Michael Scott not playing for Tulsa, out with spinal meningitis. Curtis Stuckey, we're told, will play that game, but he's nowhere near 100%. He's got a leg injury. Here's McSwain, knocked away by Eddie Bird, and Bowles will take it. They give it to Inman, and now Thomas. This is the biggest lead of the day by far for either side, and I say for either side because unless you were with us early in the first half, you missed Indiana State getting off to a nice start against Southern Illinois. Inman was blocked, but a foul on Amaya. That will be his first foul. And the 15th team foul on Southern Illinois.
John Paul, we've talked about field goal percentage all game long. Indiana State now only 13 out of 36 from the field. That's 36%. And the other key statistic, rebounding. Southern Illinois controls the boards, 32 rebounds to 19. You see Travis Inman, but he's averaged for the year. And again, Tate Slock said yesterday in practice he was the only 100% healthy player on the team, and they needed a big game from him.
Those are his first 2 points, though, John, in the second half. He had 13 in the first half when he led all scorers.
He's a streak shooter. Again, he's a guy, if he puts together 2 or 3 in a row, watch out.
Mahan, he's going to have to put together a few more, though, with this lead. 18 points for Southern Illinois, showing everyone here in attendance why they're #1 in Amaya on the dish from Shipley.
Excellent vision that time by Rick Shipley. Saw Amaya open on the baseline. Nice job of getting it to the freshman.
20-point lead again for Southern Illinois as Thomas spins on Wynn. The kick out, Bird brings it inside. Off the boards, no good. Bowles up strong. That's no good. Indiana State will retain possession underneath the basket.
That last possession kind of tells the way Tate Slock feels about this game. One of the few opportunities they get with an offensive rebound, unable to convert.
That's going to be a great stat for you by the end of the game. At halftime, it was big. Bird from 3, and Eddie Bird has it. Well, they'll need Bird to get hot. They'll need Inman to get hot. But defensively, they're going to have to find a way to slow Southern down. There's been no stopping Southern this half.
Indiana State now with full court pressure. Trap.
Great pass to the behind the back. Amaya went up for it. Well, Matt Wynn is known for the three-point shot, not the behind the back. But you can do that when you're up by 17.
Well, I don't care how much you're up by. When you put that ball behind your back, we're going to look at it. It better be on target, because I can assure you, if Matt Wynn's pass is not on target, he's going to get a chance to watch the rest of this game next to Rich Herron.
Good-looking pass from number 22, Matt Wynn, a sophomore from Benton, Illinois. His coach in high school is Rich Herron's brother. How would you like to follow up a legend with your brother? Coaching at Benton High School, Amaya connecting on his first free throw. He has 4 points. Second year in a row that this team has had the Missouri Valley Conference Freshman of the Year. Tony Harvey was it last year. He has since transferred. Amaya now with 5 points. 54-35, a 19-point lead for Southern Illinois.
Salukis again with full court pressure. They'll back off and drop back into their man-to-man.
Greg Thomas. Outside Inman. They'll call it 3 if it goes, and it does. Inman now has 18 points. Had a 20-point game towards the end of the season. His last 2 games were his 2 best offensive games this year in the Valley.
Indiana State with full court 2-2-1 pressure. They'll back off into the zone.
Well, here's where they've got to take advantage. They got 3 points coming up. They've got a turnover. Now they'd like to get more, but look out because Jerry Jones is coming in. He's owned the boards this year. He's the best rebounder this season in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Rare combination when you average in double figures. Jones just under 15 points and also double figures in rebounding.
He was in the all-newcomer team last year, and he made it to the all-MVC team this year. Thomas, the pull-up jumper is good. So Indiana State finding the shooting groove, but is it too late?
Boy, Freddie McSwain was wide open by himself. His teammates didn't see him in time, and Indiana State will again go with a 2-2-1 full court pressure.
Mahan to Shipley. Oh, look out for Jones.
Big basket. Rich Aaron's up, calling on his troops to get into it emotionally. That's a big basket.
16-point lead for Southern Illinois. Taking it baseline, Greg Thomas doesn't get the roll. And the rebounding, though, continues to hurt Indiana State because all they ever get is one shot. Southern has made a living today on the second and third shots.
One and done is not a good combination for your team to enter into.
But I like the slogan, John. One and done. Coming right back the other way is Thomas. Here's a chance to cut it down now. It's down to 16. It was as high as 20. Thomas watched by Wynn. Bird behind the screen. That's three. It looked good, but it's off. McSwain on the go. Right side Wynn. That's three-point range. He got it. He has 6 points. Both of them are threes.
Southern Illinois has answered the Indiana State run in resounding fashion. Again, the lead back out to 18 points.
Ron Cheatham getting ready to check back in, the only senior that takes lock and call upon. Down low. Bull stripped of the ball. McSwain and Jones in the double team. To Mahan. Trying to kick it out. And a Bird foul underneath. Mahan is really taking his lumps down low. Bird's third personal foul.
Watch the transition game of Southern Illinois. It all starts with defense. You see the ball being stripped, and watch Southern Illinois. Transition game in full force right now. Nice dish off to Mahan. And Eddie Bird's not going to make up his mind what he wants to do. Caught in between, and he's called for the blocking foul.
Back in the live action. Off a tip at Shipley. Kick out Mahan. Likes the three. In and out. Jones. Blocked. Save to Shipley. What a great save, though, by Lawrence.
Great individual effort by Lawrence. He kept the possession alive. He won't get credit for the points, but he got that possession to stay alive with a nice tip inside of his teammate Shipley.
Some of the little things you do to be a champion. Southern has done it well. Here's Inman. In traffic. Stripped away. That's good team defense. 61-40. This is the biggest lead at 21. You can look back, it was down to 16, and Indiana State had a possession and made nothing out of it. Lawrence in and out on the three attempt. Shipley right in front of one of our cameramen. It is 61-40 as we look again.
You'll see the contact coming. Watch the battle for it. Rick Shipley against three Sycamores almost came up with that.
It is a 21-point lead for Southern Illinois. They're really taking it to Indiana State in the second half. No second chance points for Indiana State because the boards have been controlled since the opening tip by Southern Illinois. Thomas was out of control, and there's another rebound. Jones has owned the boards. Tyrone Bell to Lawrence. It's a tough grind when you're in a tournament, John, to be playing back-to-back games without any kind of a rest. But if Southern Illinois can maintain a lead, they're not going to have all of their regulars out there for the whole game. They can rest up a little bit.
Big plus. It's a three-game season now. The team that puts together the three best games is the tournament champion. You don't have any more opportunity to make up any ground. It's put up or shut up time.
Oh, that's a great athletic move by Amaya. He was denied one side, went the other way. This is a very athletic team, Southern Illinois. They may not get enough credit for being such, but they are. You can look right down the whole roster. 23 points. That's the lead for Southern Illinois. Brown outside to Vickers. There have been a lot of upsets this year. And in previous years in the Valley, regular season and in the tournament, as Brown connects for 2. But a lot of people didn't figure this one would be close, and Indiana State gave them a good go in the opening half of play. There's still 6 minutes to go here, but Southern is playing just like this is the championship game.
Full court pressure by Indiana State. The Salukis handle it nicely.
McSwain in the pull-up jumper. That's in and out. Here's Dwayne Brown.
Got Paul, the defense relaxed just for a minute. McSwain with good recognition. Couldn't get the ball to drop, but he split the defenders. You see the rebounding there. Jones has almost caught the entire Indiana State team by himself.
Oh, the game's not over. He still might. 5:35 to go. What a performance by Jones off the boards today. Thomas off the glass. It didn't go. Underneath, though, there was a foul, and it looks like Bubba Burridge committing it. There's a look at Burridge.
Interestingly, Indiana State on the year, they held 3 opponents under 50 points. Amazing with the 45-second shot clock. And you talked about their defense. They lead the league in points allowed. It's a little over 66 points. They're in danger this time of allowing this team to get well beyond the 60.
And, you know, offensively, John, they shoot the free throws well, better than anyone. They shoot the 3 better than anyone, but those 2-point field goals just don't drop for them. Brown almost stripped away, but he made a nice move and kept possession. He has 9 points. It's down to 19. Last time Indiana State made a run, they got it down to 16, and then Southern came back with a big 3-point basket. McSwain wants to see what he has.
Indiana State now forced to go all out man-to-man. They'll have to gamble, take some chances, and when you do that, you leave yourself open for the easy layup. It's a high-risk defense, but it's the only one they can take at this point.
McSwain against Thomas. McSwain had it stripped, but I believe Thomas got him. Got him on the wrist. So McSwain will be at the line. And he has been their best 3-point shooter. Thomas got the foul. Tateslock getting ready to make another substitution. 52, Darren Lyles getting ready to come in as McSwain looks on. There's Lyles, and he'll come in for Dwayne Brown. So more size for Indiana State. Cheatham goes out, and Travis Inman comes in, and Inman brings his 18 points and good outside touch back into the lineup.
Well, you better get your licks in this year on the Sycamores because help is going to be there next year. Tateslock is going to get that program, get the personnel in there to run his system that he's looking for. He's been a master at rebuilding programs wherever he's gone. Army, Jacksonville, Miami of Ohio, Clemson. And he certainly will do the same at Indiana State.
Got to remember, this is the exact same team that only won 4 games last year, but not only that, he's made them competitive in a lot of other games and really improved their defense. They lost 6 games by less than 8 points. Amaya, he has 9 now, 65 to 44. And Indiana State will bring it up. Here's Vickers, slapped away by McSwain, and it's going to be a turnover for Indiana State.
Look for Rich Heron to get his regulars out pretty quickly. Doesn't want to come up with injuries. Also, as you mentioned, a good chance for the regulars to get a little extra rest. He's going to have some wholesale substitutions coming in.
Matt Wynn has come in. Jay Schaefer comes in. He's a senior from Benton, Illinois. Jerry Jones gets a breather, and I'll tell you what, only the score of this game will probably present Jerry Jones or prevent him from breaking any rebounding record. Last time we checked, it was, what, 16? And Bird had it at 20 before. But Jones has been amazing. They may save him for tomorrow. Amaya on the miss. Taken down, though, by Lyles. Now to Vickers. Less than 4 minutes to go in the game. 65-44. You can bet that when this one's over, Tateslock will be hot and heavy on the recruiting trail as Thomas hits for 3. He has a total of 8 points. And while Tates prepares for next year, Rich Heron prepares for either Tulsa or Bradley, and that's coming up next, so don't go away. A lot of basketball to come your way today as you're watching the Pepsi Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. Lawrence lifting it to Schaefer. Wynn was going to go baseline, but it was denied. And now Southern is using the clock smartly. They don't have to be in a rush. Indiana State needs to be in the rush at this point because the clock is not on their side, but this has been Southern's game really this whole half.
Indiana State started off cold. There are a couple of streaks where they really got behind the 8 ball and have never offensively been able to put it together in the second half.
Thomas comes out and hits the 3. So Thomas doing a nice job. He is one of those impressive-looking freshmen we talked about earlier in the telecast. And you'll see more coming up. Bradley's Charles White in the next game. Later on, you see another Thomas who plays for Illinois State. He has a steal in his last 18 games, so watch out for him. Here comes Lawrence. And as he went up, he was fouled. Foul is going to be called on Bubba Burridge, and that's going to be Burridge's second personal foul, the 6th foul on Indiana State. Dwayne Brown coming in. Greg Thomas will sit out. Not a lot of experience on this Indiana State team. A lot of experience on the Southern team, and Rich Herron will have to worry about replacing Jerry Jones and Freddie McSwain next year. But on the plus side, he has Mahan back, he has Amaya back, and he has Shipley back. And that's not a bad nucleus to start next year with. Lawrence will go again. That's what he's been averaging this year, and it has been mostly off the bench. He started one game and was not as effective. Kelvin Lawrence hits the free throw. It is a 66-50 game, Southern Illinois, 2:26 to go. We'll be right back after this timeout from Pepsi. Oh, the best in the Valley during the regular season is proving it once again here with a 16-point lead over Indiana State. Despite a slow start in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the first half, they've come on strong to really own this game. They've dominated the boards, and those end of the game stats will tell you why the margin of victory will be as big as it is. Brown to Vickers. A game effort, though, from Tate's Lock, Indiana State Sycamore's team. They hung tough with him in that first half as Brown connects for a couple. He has 11 points. Schaefer will give it up to Lawrence. Rich Herron giving several players some playing time that normally don't get that much. Schaefer being one of them out there. Coming in, Schaefer kicks it out. Bringing it right back out. 24 is Eric Griffin, who's a cousin of the next NBA player, Billy Knight. The jumper is good for Lawrence. Kelvin Lawrence fattening up his numbers with 10 points off the bench, 68-52, 16 points. The margin here.
All the starters with the exception of Amaya sitting down resting on the bench.
Inman missing that shot. Coming right back the other way is Wynn. Now to Lawrence. Kelvin Lawrence got it back from Griffin, and they'll just eat time on the clock with 1:10 to go. And again, they'll play the winner of Tulsa versus Bradley, and that is coming up next. That one should be a closer game, but you never know. Schaefer going in, took a bump. That one looked great, but it didn't go for Schaefer. Coming right back the other way, it's Vickers. Less than a minute to go. In fact, 50 seconds now. Here in the second half, 68-52. Southern Illinois up. Nice dish down low to Lyles, but he missed it. Couple of tips, no. Inman again. Whacked away, but you can hear that foul. Even as high up as the Bob Euchre seats. Foul is going to be called on Rich Herron's team, and that will be the 6th team foul. Lawrence got the foul, and for Kelvin Lawrence, it will be his 3rd. Inman will go to the line. He's a 77% free throw shooter. 6'2", 180-pounder from Avon, Indiana. 19 points for Travis Inman. He's hit 3 three-pointers today for Indiana State.
Inman really did a good job for Indiana State in the first half. Really kept his club in it. Couldn't keep the pace up in the second half. The effort was there by Indiana State. Just couldn't keep the production up.
Offensively, it was pretty much a one-man show for that club. With Inman. Of course, Bird couldn't shoot very well. That's some great hustle with his big lead. Down low. Couple of dishes. Amaya. He has 11 points. Coming right back, Jason Hodges defending against Thomas. To the outside for Inman. In and out. Amaya fights for it. Southern another rebound. 5 seconds to go. The jumper from the outside, the miss. Hodges missed it, and the buzzer ends this one. Final score, Rich Herron and the Southern Illinois Salukis take it over